Hey guys, Dylan from the Geek Duo here, and today I'll be bringing you my reaction to My Hero Academia Season 6, Episode 17, titled The Wrong Way to Put Out a Fire. Endeavor and his family reflect on Toya's past and the events that led to his death, and Hawks and Best Jeanist bring them a proposition. So, this is obviously a continuation of how the last episode ended, with the Todoroki kids and Ray walking into Endeavor's hospital room saying, "We need to talk." And based on what you saw in the preview, if you actually watched it, this is going to be giving the complete story between what we've known since Season 2, what we found out in the later seasons, what was revealed by Toya, and everything else is going to be built on in this episode. Plus, there's also that Hawks and Best Jeanist bit, which actually is the bridging point to the next arc. But I guess I don't really have anything to say of note at the start of this episode, so let's get this started in 3, 2, 1, go. God damn it. 2, 1, go. Don't know why it didn't show up. That's the opposite problem to I normally have. I don't think they actually said in the manga, the first part of this voiceover, the straight out saying it was a quirk marriage. Because there was a lot of confusion when this came out that sort of threw doubt onto that. With Ray's father saying could provide someone befitting of a hero. And that was the one time she said she liked those flowers. But yeah, so again, it's the expansion of the dialogue to clarify some of the ambiguity or misinterpretation of scenes that really set this apart. Like, I still reckon if I had to choose, I don't actually know which one I'd recommend more. Whether I'd say the original or the, I guess, technically adaptation. Like, I don't know which one I reckon is better, but because both have their strength, both have their weaknesses, which I've spoken in depth with this, but yeah. They do make a point to remove some of the ambiguity. But then again, they do things like this. Like, That has nothing to do with. That has the tiniest bit to do with this. Like, villain, Darby. I love how he's like, Mum. Because he has no problem with his mum. Don't know how he feels about his sister. Exactly. The revelation came way too late to save the child. The kid won't listen. The kid had his own ideas. He'll keep using his quirk. So I'll make a kid who will be better suited for my goals to force him to stop. That is basically the premise behind the title of this episode. This still does cause the continuity issues with what was shown in the second season. Because remember in the first flashback we got of the Todorokis, how they had Toya with red hair kicking a ball while Endeavor showed her to train. It's completely unfazed. Yeah, see, he had red hair in the first time we saw this. I don't think. I don't know whether Horikoshi has ever actually come out and said whether he planned to have Toya with red hair that turned white, or if he just initially planned it white. But um, yeah, after the anime showed it with red, it's believed that he then went back and showed. Fine, sure, it started red, but it's white like I wanted it to be. He did say it was tied to his emotions. That's a fair question. They still never actually have said that it's an iceberg, because that's not hot water that caused that. It was Ray using a quirk to ice it. That's why you're meant to put cold water on a burn. If you ice it, it's gonna scar, and that's what happened. 10,000. Technically. Hmm. Hawks isn't an idiot. He picks up on a lot of things. There's a reason he's been in. He was the like eyes and ears. Okay, so it looks like they didn't change up anything. I thought that what is insinuated to be in the next episode by the thumbnail was actually before Endeavor spoke with his family. Because, yeah, I thought that was before. Like, he was awake when Hawks and Best Genius went to talk to him, but no, he's still asleep at that point. Well, asleep. He's in a coma. Like, okay. I'm just gonna say it here. I don't have much thoughts on this episode. I gave my running commentary as things were happening and was silent for most of the episode because, like, I wanted this to just play out on its own. There's nothing really I can add to it because, like I said at the start, it just everything about the past now. I'm actually going to not show the preview because there's no way it's not going to be like way spoilery. So that's all it's going to be. But yeah, so like I said, the wrong way to put out a fire. As I said, as it was happening in the episode, Endeavor's decision to stamp out Toya's passion by ignoring him and continuing on with his desire to have the perfect child is the basis of the name of this episode. Like, rather than saying, look, you keep doing this, you're gonna hurt yourself, just stop, okay? I've put way too much pressure on you. It was an unrealistic goal anyway. We're just gonna stop this here and not deal with it again. I doubt that would have worked because, as they showed, he'd already tried doing something similar to get Toya to stop. It didn't work because he was still training, still burning his arms and everything. He also had that whole thing where he basically is just like, well, the girls in this family, they're stupid. They can't understand any of this. Only Dad and I can understand. And then when Natsuo came on, only Natsuo, Dad, and I can understand because we're male, we're strong, we are the heroes. But also, Natsuo is as useless as Dad is making me feel, so I'm going to vent everything to him because he can understand where I'm coming from. Like, even back then, he had very little grip on sanity. Like, in the world of My Hero Academia, there are people who are just born bad. Like, sure, they're compelled in part by their quirk. Look at Toga and her desire to consume blood because that is entirely what her quirk revolves around. Look at All for One and his desire to take powers and use his ability to gain a following. He is basically Sylar. Like, he's being compelled by his powers. Like, they do have the drive inbuilt in them from their quirk, but also they have no grip on sanity to begin with. Like, Toya was insane at the start. I don't like using that word, but for simplicity's sake, Toga was, All for One was, Shigaraki wasn't. He wanted to be a hero, like Toya. But he was constantly being beat down by his father and everything, like Hawks. Except nowhere near as bad as Hawks. And then the unfortunate thing happened of his chance encounter with All for One when he got out of the house one day. All for One brought him home, or at least we assume it was All for One. No, I cannot bring up a picture of the panel because I can never find it. If you want to hear anything about it, go check out Zonin. At least I think that's how you pronounce it. ZHONIIN. He's a anime breakdown, manga breakdown channel. Whenever he talks about Darby or anything, whenever he talks about Shigaraki, 9 times out of 10, he'll pull up the panel that I'm talking about, where you've got the man in the suit with the hat covering up to here in shadow, like we always see with All for One, and him returning Shigaraki home. Like, I don't know why I'm getting into Shigaraki. I completely lost my train of thought, went down a side route, but yeah, he was not born evil. He was not born insane. He got pushed down that road because of his quirk, which was believed to have been given to him, which then compels him to use it to destroy. Like, again, it's the quirk driving the character down the path of evil, plus the impact from their family life, plus his mentorship from All for One and everything. There are always 2 factors in the villains here. At least the villains that have been given depth. There's the quirk, and there's the people that push them. Usually their family. Toya, his quirk was technically a driving factor because of what the scenario was that gave him that quirk. And his father. Toga, her quirk. And the way her parents and friends and everything shunned her, forced her to keep it in check and everything. Shigaraki, his eventual quirk. and the way his father treated him, and the way All For One groomed him and everything. I guess technically Overhaul as well, with the fact that his quirk can just, anything he does, he can undo and everything, drove him to trying to use that power to repair Eri, repair society and everything. And the way that, rather than reasonably speak to him like adults, explain why his belief is wrong, his father figure just shut him down, basically said, look, if you don't stop this, I'm kicking you out of the only family you've really known. And then that's when he lost it. Like, all of them, it's been two factors. And so when you get that scene of Toya just losing it at Ray and then walking out to train, that is in part Endeavor, but also an inbuilt in nature version of Toya that would have come about no matter what. But yeah. Anyway, then we just had basically everyone in the Todoroki family, except Shoto, saying, look, I feel I bear a little bit of responsibility for this. Ray reckons she should have worked more to stop him, talk him down and everything. And basically like, look, I was scared. I was scared of you. I started seeing you and our children. So my hatred to you was then put on the children and everything. I'm not, my hands aren't clean in this. Fuyumi saying, I was more focused on just keeping up the appearance of our happy family. I was scared of what people would say about us if any of this got out. I did nothing to stop this. Natsuo is saying, look, I could have done more to talk him out of it. I was the one he confided in the most, and yet I didn't do anything. I could have done more to stop this. Mind you, he was a child, but he's been holding this in since Toya's death. Ray, she was already in the institution before Toya died. Like, they said this in the episode. She was in isolation in the hospital, and that is when she heard about Toya. Like, so she'd already burnt Shoto by that point. But yeah. And then, of course, you've got Hawks and Bestunus saying, hey, we're going to help you out. Your family wants to help you. Your son wants to help you in the combative sense. We're going to be there beside you as well, as the top three heroes standing united. But first of all, what the hell is One For All? And yeah, so I said I didn't have much to touch on in this episode, but my rambling sort of just got the better of me. So I'm just going to end this here. I'll catch you in the next one.